Make no mistake, Michael Chandler is furious with Conor McGregor. He has not forgiven anything. He hasn't forgiven having his hands put on him 2 separate times during The Ultimate Fighter. He hasn't forgotten that he's waited almost 2 years. He's a father of multiple adopted children. He's got a wife. He's going away doing training camps. He's getting his yin and yang, and Conor's telling him that I'm going to go 185 or I'm even going to go box Manny Pacquiao. Chandler has been so reserved, being nice, and many people will do that in a negotiation. They want to be nice until they get their way. He got his way, and the bad guy is coming. Trust me, this guy is upset. He doesn't care who knows now. You remember I said that?
Yep, I'm ready to go. I'm calm, I'm composed, I'm cold in the soul for this man, yeah? And this whole thing. I'm coming back with a vengeance, and I'm coming back with skill. So I'm excited to show my skills, my man, yeah? You know, I'm gonna put this guy's head on a pike and throw it over my shoulder.
When we meet in the center of the Octagon and I'm standing in front of him, and the first time my leather lands on his face, and the first time my leather lands to his body, and the first time I get my hands locked around him, and he feels the pressure and he feels the squeeze, he feels his feet leave the ground and his neck and head hit the canvas, I think he's going to immediately know that he's outmatched. And what the good thing is, going back to trust, I trust myself to know where the fight is going to go, and we will be prepared, and we will outclass him in every single aspect of the mixed martial arts competition. It's a contest of skill, it's a contest of spirit and will, and I believe I'm the better man. And I don't just believe I'm the better man by a little bit, I believe I'm the better man by a long shot. And then it's to the moon after that.
The longer the fight is on the feet, certainly in the first round, McGregor is going to be dangerous. But the real question is, will McGregor be the same after 3 years away from the sport? The sport moves on. It's always progressing and evolving. There's always new techniques and things like that. But I don't think any of that stuff is going to be the real issue. The issue for McGregor is, number one, the man's getting older. Simple as that. He's getting older, okay? He's slowing down. He's not as hungry. He's coming back off a horrific leg injury, okay? The bottom of the leg snapped when he fought Dustin Poirier.
Tough times, folks, yeah? It's not easy to come through a break like that. I had to go deep in my head. You know, I had to, a lot of internal conversations to try and strengthen my resolve. It's one of the reasons I'm so excited to come back, to show the world, you know, it's important to remain resilient, to exercise resilience, and, you know, through the storm comes the sun.
And this is the thing with me, I'm no hater, I'm a realist. Conor McGregor, that we grew to know and like in the sport of, and respected in the sport of mixed martial arts, has real skills. And if that Conor McGregor somehow emerges again, you know, it's gonna be it's a tough night for almost anybody in that weight division, in his weight division. But Michael Chandler is the real deal. We saw that Michael Chandler puts hands on you, chances are you might wake up asking what happened. So Conor's not prepared and he goes in there playing around. Michael Chandler they might have to bring some smelling salt for him in that fight.
I think Conor is the better fighter. I think he's got more skills. I think he has more ways to win than Michael Chandler does. However, you know, Conor McGregor has so much going on. How much energy has he put into training for this? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, what am I going off of social media and all this stuff? Like it's hard to really know. But right now I'd maybe be leaning towards Chandler, but I want to see more. I want to see footage. I want to see that Conor is focused, training. I want to see him saying the right things. You know what Chandler's going to show up, you know, and sometimes he brings too much chaos and recklessness into the octagon, but you know he's going to train hard and be ready.
And the Chandler that we see is who he really is deep down inside. And I seen it up close and personal in the Poirier fight, where he wants to do the things that he knows is going to get him to a win, but his soul just can't allow it. He needs to go crazy. And if he breaks down and he wrestles and he throws big punches and keeps Conor guessing on whether he's throwing overhands and hooks or he's shooting, he could give Conor problems. But Conor typically does pretty well with short, stocky wrestlers. He's long, he's powerful, he's like a sniper in there. So I'm leaning a little bit Chandler, but I would not be shocked to see Conor make it look easy.
Conor's going to come in shape. He's going to come in ready to fight. He runs on all cylinders. Like he's very fast and aggressive. He's a fast switch fiber type fighter. Michael Chandler, he's a guy that can dig deep. We've seen him do it. He'll take a lot of punishment. He's got the miles on him. He'll be 38 by the time this fight happens. I think it's going to end up being a good fight, though.
I think in a technical fight where both guys are at their best, I think Conor should win because his counter striking is perfect for a guy like Chandler. But Chandler, man, he could pull it off. He still has a lot of speed. He has a lot of he has pretty good wrestling. He knows how to cover distance well. It's a really interesting fight because you don't know who's going to show up. Meaning you don't know if Chandler's going to show up, fight methodical, fight well, and keep his base and cardio for the 3 rounds or 5 rounds of the fight is. And then with Conor, you just don't know. It's a surprise.
This is a man versus another man, and one man has earned it, and one man knows that he hasn't. One man that will talk a big game and get the people behind him, but in the confines of his own mind, in the confines of his own home, when in the quiet moments, he knows he hasn't earned it. But in my quiet moments, I know that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and I know that I was destined for this. And sometimes you got to go through the mud and the muck to get to the mountaintop. And I've gone through more. I have worked more. I've put a million more reps in, a million more hours in. I don't just talk a big game. I do the work. And I just truly believe I'm not just the better athlete. I believe I'm the better man in this scenario. And it's time that the good guy wins. It's time that the better man wins.
There is fighters that when they're not fighting, and after a while, it's difficult to explain to somebody. A lot of guys watching this that are 15 pro fights in, it starts becoming a job. It does. The passion and my love of this, it's a job. And it's hard to keep the level of intensity, even if it's not physical, the level of mental intensity of always thinking about training, always thinking about sequences, always thinking about techniques. That's something Conor's had naturally his whole career. So even though there was times where he's off filming and he's doing this, he's doing that, we're still always having conversations back and forth. Whereas some fighters, like if I'm not fighting, I don't even want to look at shows. I'll just get ready when there's a fight coming up. And that's really held to him because he's come back on the mats as sharp as ever. Of course, we've got to get the rounds in and get the conditioning up so as to be ready for competition, but his technique is as sharp as ever.
He has his set movements, his set patterns he moves in, and his set shots. And I'm aware of them, and I'm preparing for multitude of outcomes, and just getting myself as ready as I can be. And I'm confident that all my shots will land.
This is one of those ones, Michael Chandler's going to go out there and do what he does. He's going to stand in front of Conor McGregor and throw hands, and that's not the way to get the win. But is Conor the same fighter? I don't care what the talk says. You got to go off of all the time off, all the things that have happened, the injuries, all those things. He's not going to be the same Conor that beat Eddie Alvarez.
When you watch the combinations he put on Eddie Alvarez, his ability to just barely miss a punch and then fire back with 2 or 3, catching guys off guard, great angles, fast left hand, powerful left hand, southpaw. His movement and his navigation and negotiation of the distance between us two, that's where he thinks he can excel. That's where he can excel if I'm not on the top of my game and we don't have our game plan right where we need to be to suck all the oxygen out of the octagon. The goal is to suck all of the oxygen out of the octagon. He's already ready to drown with the lifestyle that he has lived and the work that he has not put in over the last couple of years. I believe we suck the oxygen out of the octagon. He looks for the exit sign somewhere in the second round, and I usher him toward the door.